So, while I'm waiting for the great anime of this season to finish so I can finally review them, I figured I'd cover some of the crappy anime this season that I couldn't be asked to finish. Starting with... After years of losing his friends and family one by one to a demon invasion, the hero defeats the Demon King but is suddenly thrown back in time 3 years before the invasion. Armed with this knowledge, he sets out to save his friends and family from their previous demise. A stupendously easy premise to tell many kinds of engaging stories with. So instead, our hero doesn't bother to explain the time travel, nor even warn anyone of the demons invading. There is absolutely no reason not to do this, so it's already immensely frustrating, and upon further thought, it severely damages his character. I mean, one wonders just how many civilians the demons killed that our hero is willfully ignoring. Instead of that, our hero, and thereby the anime, is solely focused on saving his friends' lives above all else. Which would have been somewhat fine had the anime given me any reason for me to care about them. All it's done is throw a bunch of different archetypes in the show and just expected the audience to automatically care about them. Interesting comparison, I'm currently watching Scooped Up by an S-Rank Party, and so far, it's passable. But one thing I rather like is the party itself. Each one of them has their own talents, but aren't all powerful. Each one is intelligent and quick on the uptake, and each one has a well-defined, enjoyable personality. But perhaps the most important aspect is their back and forths with each other. From every interaction and conversation, it's abundantly clear they have a well-formed, long relationship, and are a great team through and through. They're absolutely fun to watch, and I would be devastated if one of them died. Meanwhile, I could barely say who the characters are in A New Age. None of them bother to ask why our protagonist is suddenly a completely different person, and worse still, none of them seem to have their own agency. Basically, they come across as mere tools for the plot rather than characters in their own right. And the most back and forths we get is one of them cooks good food, and the others want that food. Great. So from there, does this anime have any decent action? Nope. Any decent world building? Nope. It's just the usual fare there. Does this anime have any decent comedy? Well, if you count painful misunderstandings or a guy going crazy over gold as decent, then you'll be needing a good dose of Konosuba or Delicious in Dungeon, mate. So yeah, don't bother with this one. But at the very least, it's the better of these three. A talented teenage maid tutors a duke's daughter and her maid before becoming their teacher at this academy. That's it. Oh boy, was this one grating. Partly because the plot was so uninteresting, partly because the characters were so uninteresting, and partly because these children want to knob our nearly adult protagonist. So that plot. He's called in to be a tutor because the daughter's magic is obviously being blocked. Our hero easily solves it, and she now has to control her very powerful magic, which she does in mere days. She and her maid then pass the father's test and they enter the academy where they do random bullshit. Our hero meanwhile becomes their teacher because the principal thought it'd be funny. It wasn't. And once again, I'm reminded of the great scene from Bastard Instructor, where this concept was far, far better done. Not that I'm recommending that show either. But unlike that one scene, Private Tutor isn't interested in exploring the 6 generic magic systems, nor what the characters want from the academy. Nope, it's really about a love pentagram with very little else. Which brings me to these characters. We have the extraordinarily bland protagonist, who never so much as dreams of adversity, annoying girl with a squeaky high-pitched voice, other annoying girl with a squeaky high-pitched voice, a third annoying girl with a squeaky high-pitched voice, a tsundere, a shy learned one, this guy who is only there for the hilarious joke he doesn't realise the girls are fawning over Mr. No personality, and bland wolf girl's sister. I honestly can't describe this cast any further, as these dull archetypes is quite literally all we get. Hell, Squeaky Girl 1 was anxious and upset about not being able to cast magic, but nothing comes from this. It's almost like an anti-personality trait. She, just like the rest of the cast, can barely achieve a single dimension of character, and they all share the same goal, to be the final one to knob our protagonist. Did I mention 3 of them are very young girls? Honestly, I just don't understand the concept of this show. The characters are immensely dull, there's no tense action scenes, it's not funny to watch the girls glare at the protagonist over the slightest justified praise for another girl, it's certainly not endearing, so I can only imagine this show was made to fulfill the crappiest of checklists, and then failed at even that. They only got as far as making the bog-standard harem and having them try to knob the blandest of protagonists, where one of the squeaky children is among the 2 likeliest love interests. And yet, this is still better than our 3rd entry. A guy dies and is thrown into the fancy game world he was playing, but unlike all the other isekai game worlds, this one is a civilization management game. Excellent. So we're gonna see some intelligent kingdom management by a pro Civ gamer, right?
Wrong.
Instead, we get a powerful dipshit who has all the charisma sucked out of him, and a girl whose only interest is of this insufferably bland idiot. She was also supposedly conscious during the Civ game and suffered countless deaths as our guy replayed it over and over. Good grief, that is such a horrendous fate. So nothing comes of that, and some refugee elves happen to arrive, and they agree to serve this idiot. Thus, his evil kingdom begins. These two then proceed to effortlessly make all the infrastructure they could ever need, without the anime even bothering to have them think of how it's done. Water? Well, there's a stream in the thick forest where they can simply make an entire aqueduct from, while leaving the trees intact. Food? They've conveniently got these evil trees that makes food for them that tastes like human flesh, which everybody's perfectly fine with. Housing? They're not even going to bother to explain how these elves made them. Soldiers? Those elves are suddenly a lot stronger, plus that woman is suddenly powerful despite earlier stating she'll lose to a single guy. Scouts? They can summon these screaming creatures to really irritate the audience. Aside from utilising the convenient abhorrent trees, this pair only makes decisions whenever someone brings up an issue, rather than creating plans or making precautions. So I can't believe I'm saying this, but Realist Hero has a better kingdom management than this. This one just says it's a game world, so they have to follow the technology tree to beat the other factions. First off, this tech tree is painfully simple, and secondly, why the hell should I care for the mechanics of this made-up game? It'll be far more interesting if our protagonist at first treated this like a game, but discovered this world doesn't follow the game mechanics, forcing him to think on his feet and adapt. But no, these game mechanics very much control the world, and consequently, we know the protagonist, who is literally the best player in the world at this game, will never struggle. And the cherry on top? The anime frequently pauses itself to slowly accept a made-up menu whenever he decides to do anything. Would you like to scratch your ass? Yes. Had my hand reaching for the mouse to turn this dull-ass show off, when suddenly we get a couple of actual God forbid characters. This devout, must-follow-the-rules paladin teaming up with a pragmatic, seemingly carefree leader, who we learn is very perceptive and wise, alongside a bunch of mercenaries who are quite interesting themselves. Suddenly, an actual show came out of this white noise. These two are sent to scout the forest the protagonist is in, who now wears this. Ugh. All in service of the good but struggling nation. Finally, actual characters I can invest in, and their dynamic works really well. I am so looking forward to their story, and they're dead. Oh. Back to the protagonist, who continues to act like an emotionally stunted kid, and his carefree journey of winning a game he won hundreds of times, all while he sits on his ass. Yeah, nah.